Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, and today's scary story is going to be the town where everyone disappeared at midnight. This is one of our audience's stories. I've made it into a video for you. Let's dive right in. There was a dark mystery that plagued a quiet and unassuming town, nestled in the heart of a vast wilderness. The town had always been shrouded in an eerie silence, but on this particular night, it took on a terrifying new meaning. The year was 1984, and the town had a population of around 5,000 people who lived their lives in peace, until one fateful midnight when a chilling event occurred. For many years, rumors had swirled about the strange occurrences that had happened in the woods surrounding the town. Some spoke of unexplained disappearances, while others claimed to have witnessed strange and unsettling phenomena. Despite these tales, the townspeople had carried on with their lives, trying to ignore the darkness that lurked just beyond the edge of the town. But on that fateful night, the veil between the ordinary and the extraordinary was torn asunder, revealing the horrifying truth behind the wood's dark reputation. It all began with a group of teenagers who decided to venture into the forbidden woods. Despite the numerous warnings they had received from the townspeople, as they ventured deeper into the forest, they began to experience strange and inexplicable things. The trees seemed to close in around them, and the air grew heavy with a sense of dread. Then, as the clock struck midnight, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the trees, sending the teenagers fleeing in terror. They stumbled out of the woods, shaken and breathless, and recounted their terrifying experience to the townspeople, but no one believed them, dismissing it as a prank or a figment of their imagination. However, as the night wore on, more and more people began to experience strange and unsettling things. Families gathered around their radios, tuned into the local AM station, began to hear distorted voices, whispering terrifying messages. Before the broadcast cut out abruptly, cars driving through the deserted streets of the town reported seeing shadowy figures standing at the edge of the road, their faces obscured by the darkness. And then there were the phone calls. People across the town began receiving phone calls from unknown numbers. When they answered, they heard only silence or maniacal laughter. As the night dragged on, the fear and paranoia in the town grew. People barricaded themselves in their homes, praying that whatever was out there would pass them by. But as the first rays of sunlight began to peek over the horizon, the true horror of the situation became clear. All across the town, people were found dead in their homes, their faces frozen in masks of terror. Their deaths were ruled as unexplained, leaving the townspeople to wonder what had happened to them. But the mystery deepened when the authorities began to investigate the town. They found strange symbols carved into the walls of the houses and strange devices left in the streets. No one could understand what it all meant, but it was clear that something sinister had descended upon the town. Now, years have passed since that fateful night, but the mystery of the town, where everyone disappeared at midnight, remains unsolved. The town has been abandoned, left as a desolate wasteland, a warning to those who dare to enter the forbidden woods. This story takes us to a small town where life moved at its own pace, undisturbed by the chaos and complexities of the outside world. Nestled amidst rolling hills and whispering trees, it was a place where the rhythm of life was dictated by the changing seasons and the simple joys of everyday living. The town was like any other, with its quaint shops, cozy cafes, and friendly faces. It had its own heartbeat, a melody composed of children's laughter, the murmur of conversation, and the gentle hum of daily activity. The people were as diverse as the leaves on the trees in autumn, each with their own story, their own hopes and dreams. Life in the town was a tapestry, Woven with threads of tradition and community, the townspeople came together for annual festivals, celebrating the bounty of the land and the richness of their shared heritage. These gatherings were more than just events. They were a testament to the strength of their bonds. And then there were the newcomers. Drawn to the town's tranquility, they brought with them fresh perspectives and new energy, contributing to the town's vibrant mix of old and new. This blend created a unique charm, a harmonious blend of tradition and change. Then there was the heart of the town, the grand old library. Its shelves held not just books, but stories, memories, and dreams. It was a place where generations had come to explore the world and expand their horizons. The library was more than a building. It was a symbol of the town's commitment to knowledge and growth. But as the sun began its slow descent and shadows stretched long across the town, a sense of unease settled over the residents. The tranquility they had once cherished now seemed like a distant memory. Fear became a constant companion, casting its dark shadow over every aspect of their lives. They began to notice strange occurrences, whispers in the night, fleeting shadows at the edge of their vision. The town, once their sanctuary, now felt like a prison, trapping them in a nightmare they couldn't wake up from. The next day, they awoke to find their town transformed. What was once familiar and comforting had become distorted and menacing. The trees that had cradled their town now loomed over it like gnarled fingers. The wind that had whispered through the leaves now moaned like a lost soul. As days turned into weeks, the town's idyllic facade began to crumble, revealing the darkness that had been lurking beneath. The townspeople, once proud and resilient, became isolated and paranoid. The very fabric of their community, once a source of strength, started to fray. Then came the whispers, insidious and terrifying, spreading like wildfire through the town. Rumors of ancient curses, malevolent spirits, and forgotten rituals seeped into their dreams, turning their deepest fears into waking nightmares. And then there were the disappearances. At first, it was just one person, then another, and then another. The missing posters, with their hopeful smiles, became a haunting reminder of the town's unraveling. Each disappearance chipped away at their collective sanity, leaving them to wonder who would be next. As the town teetered on the brink of chaos, a sense of hopelessness settled over the remaining residents. The library, once a beacon of hope and knowledge, now stood as a silent witness to their despair. The stories within its walls seemed to mock them, a stark contrast to the grim reality they now faced. In the end, the town became a ghost of its former self, the laughter and chatter replaced by an eerie silence. The homes, once filled with warmth and light, stood empty and dark, their windows like vacant eyes staring into the abyss. The town where everyone disappeared at midnight became a haunting reminder of the darkness that can consume even the most idyllic of places. The mystery remains, a chilling enigma that continues to baffle and terrify. What sinister force had descended upon the town, turning it into a scene of a nightmare? The truth, elusive and terrifying, continues to elude the grasp of those seeking answers, leaving behind a legacy of fear and unanswered questions. So if you ever find yourself in a quiet town, surrounded by the whispers of the past, remember the tale of the town where everyone disappeared at midnight. For in the stillness of the night, when the clock strikes 12, you might just hear the echoes of their haunting screams. Thank you so much for listening to this scary story today. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave me a comment down below. I love reading your comments. Also, if you want to support the channel more, please consider supporting us through the link in the description below. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.